friends, welcome to Tech Harvesting. In today's video, we're going to have a look at pseudo classes and pseudo selectors in CSS. We'll also be looking at pseudo elements, and we'll be looking at the differences between pseudo selectors and pseudo elements. So let's get started. So before we start, I want to show that I have set up this project right here. So it's having an index.html file and a style.css file is empty, and in this index.html I just got a title, a link to the CSS file, and two elements over here, one h1 with a class of class and an h1 with a class of element. So before we start, I want to show you what a pseudo class is first. So pseudo classes, we use it quite a lot for example hover and focus states. So pseudo classes are used for handling state and changing the style according to the state. For example, I'm going to take our class element, which is our h1 right here, and then we can have a hover state, for example. So we can do colon hover, and then in here we can do, for example, background color f1 f1 f1, which is what it defaults. So let's just change it to something like that. So now if I come back here, when you hover it, you can see that the background color changes. So that's the use of pseudo classes. It's used for changing state or changing style when the state of something changes. In this case it's hover. We can have for example, if it was a button, we can have focus states. So let me just show that. Let's change this to a button. So when you hover, you can see it changes the background color, and we can have a focus now. So we can just copy that down, make this a focus, and we can change this color to something else like that. So when we hover, we get that, and we click on it, which means we are focusing, and right now it's still focused. We're getting the blue color, and if we leave the focus like that, it goes. So that's the use of pseudo classes. Now let's have a look at pseudo selectors. So in here I have got this element, and I mean pseudo elements, not pseudo selectors. So pseudo element, and for this, all these the classes, we're using a single colon, but when we're using pseudo elements, we have two colons. So for adding the pseudo element, let's go ahead and select our element. I know it's kind of funny. So it's this h1 element right here, which we have with a class of element, and we can have some stuff inside. So for doing pseudo elements, we have two colons, which is different from the single colon we use for pseudo classes. So we can do, as you can see, if I scroll down, we can see there are a lot of elements we can use. So we can use the after element, and for example, we want to display the text, for example A, B or something. So we can do content, which is a property, and we can do, for example, A. Now if we head back here, you can see we're getting hello, which is what we have, and an A after it. And if you look in the developer tools, we can see that it's injecting this after element with the content A. Now we can do more things here. For example, we can have a padding left of 200. Let me start a semicolon there. And as you can see, it moved from there onto here. Now this can be very useful in some cases. For example, if you have links, and if you want to go ahead and mark the external links as something else. So if it's linking to another website, you want to have some small icon which shows the external link icon. So you can do that. For that, you can just go ahead and change this A to URL, and in the URL function you can just give a URL to an image, and I'll display an image there. So there are a lot of uses for these pseudo elements also. Other than after, there's also these before element. So you can use before, and you can see it's having space here, then it displays the element and displays the text after that. So that's the difference between pseudo classes and pseudo elements. Pseudo elements have two colons, and sometimes you might even see them with a single colon. That's when you're just going to have old browsers and old syntax. But in the newer syntax, we have two colons for pseudo elements and one colon for pseudo classes. There are more pseudo classes also, so you can just do dot class colon, and first they show the colon, then you have all these colons, single colons. For example, you have a checkbox, you have the checked pseudo class, so we can change the style when the checkbox is checked. A lot of stuff like that. So it's very useful, all these things. And yeah, that was it for this video. So that was it for this video. I just want to show you the differences between pseudo selectors and pseudo elements. and also show you how they work. Thanks for watching, and if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye friends.